it's an afterthought, or it wasn't thought out, because it was consciously designed. It was part of the field development plan. So they knew they were going to be flaring. And so a flare stack was designed and included in the design. Then accidental burning, it's not, because it's a conscious decision. Somebody had to get a permit or approval for them to be able to go ahead with the flaring. So it's not an accidental burning, and it's not just a wasteful process, because it's done for specific reason, and safety in our industry is very paramount, and as such, it cannot just be wished away as a wasteful process. But then the technical and the economic reasons are where it's actually gets interesting, and we'll be looking at that. So here are the actual reasons for which gas flaring is done. And the first of these all is emergency or safety measures. When I mean, you want to depressurize a facility, it is essential that you flare up, or else it might explode. And when the gas composition is corrosive, you don't want it to damage equipment or some other facility. So flaring is considered alternative for this. And when equipment needs to be maintained, the gas is channeled towards the flare stack as well. All of that are reasons for which gas are flared. And some of these too, particularly safety, are some of are allowable reasons why gas flaring is often done. But the most interesting one is the routine flaring and the economic flaring, which is the one that the industry actually flares at. Now, as you can see in the image, they have put two things on a scale there. And the first is probably a gas gathering facility. And you know that for you to build gas gathering facility, we are talking about millions of dollars there. And this might be very, very expensive. Or flaring on the other one seems like a cheaper alternative in most cases, because the gas might not be commercial. So when the gas is not in the commercial volume, the economics might not be favorable towards building a gas gathering facility. When it is in a very remote location, and you would need lots of infrastructures to be able to tie it to existing infrastructures, the economics might also not be favorable. So most of the flaring we have, although flaring is also done for safety, is done for uh, technical reason, most of the flaring that actually happens around are more of routine flaring. And so when we say it is safety, I mean, like one of the cliches actually says it's a safety measure. So it's more like we are using the excuse of the first column here to defend what happens on the third column here. So we use the excuse of it being a safety measure to defend what we do, because we think it is not economical for us to build a facility. Now, here are some of the designs of flare stack. I'm sure most of us must have seen a bit of this around, and this is a vertical flare stack. The other one is an horizontal flare stack, but these two at the left here are grand flares. And the kind of design we choose depends on the available space to us. For people in constrained areas where you don't have so much space, they tend to build a vertical stack so as to carry the gas, the burning gas to a very high height that it doesn't affect operation uh, uh, at the ground level. But for the horizontal stack, there where you have a lot of space and you have a lot of workable areas, then you can decide to build this. It is cheaper because it's just having a pipe, and you are digging a pit and you are channeling it there. The thermal oxidizer you have in the middle here is a more expensive and sophisticated technology, but it's also a grand flare. So the choice of the kind of flare stack design that is used depends on space you have available to you, the composition. If you have a gas stream that has a lot of liquid in it, then you want to use an horizontal stack. If you have a large volume of gas to flare, you want to consider using vertical stack. If you don't have you are constrained on budget, then you probably do not want to go for the thermal oxidizer because they are expensive. But when environmental policies are stringent and uh, control measures are actually in place, then things like the thermal oxidizer, although they are very, very expensive, might be considered. such, these are the various considerations that are used. And we also know that flaring can be intermittent, it can be continuous. So for places where the gas supply is not steady, they can just, or maybe there is a need to blow down or to eliminate some gas immediately. At those times, they might just decide to just flare, and when the gas available are being utilized again, then flaring is stopped. So these are some of the kind of designs we have, and these are the considerations that are taken into account when design is being done. Now, venting of methane is not allowed in most places and even under Nigerian law. And that's because methane has more damaging impacts on the cloud compared to CO2. So because of that, this methane are born. We know that natural gas contain predominantly methane, up to around 90% thereabouts. So the methane are born in the atmosphere to convert them to a less harmful material, which is carbon dioxide. Now, but this is what you have in the ideal situation when there is a complete conversion. But oftentimes, this is what we have on the field, the incomplete conversion. Am I still audible? Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, and the pictures at the footnotes here actually shows the difference between what you can have there, and you can see that the picture by the left here actually shows a clean burning flare that is assisted by steam, and the other one here shows an environmental monstrosity, so to say, because you can see a lot of soot, you can see particulates probably, and will be carried wherever the wind carries it to. And as opposed to the ideal equations that converts it all to carbon dioxide and water, the other equation you have here, you can see that, of course, a bit of it is converted to carbon dioxide, but you now have carbon monoxide, you now have some bits of unburnt carbon, you have water itself, then you have some hydro carbons that are also being carried along now. And this can be very, very harmful depending on what kind of hydrocarbon that it's being converted to or what you are flaring. And to enhance this now, or to get closer to the clean flaring, a number of things are done to assist the technology, and some of it involve steam assistance, where high jet streams are pumped into the jet stream to increase the mixing. So, but it has also been found in some literature, interestingly, because when we are producing as well, we produce water. And we know produced water also contains some heavy metal and all, and the regulation says that water should be treated well and disposed properly. And some literature have it that some operators actually inject, they produce water into this so that that destroys the water for them, or it handles the water, and at the same time they think that it assists the flaring process, but this is not true. And this has been one of the ways by which heavy metals are released into air. A number of literatures also have it that when they measure the particulates composition of near resident neighborhood, near flare sites neighborhoods, they see that there are heavy metal, high concentration of uh, carbon monoxide, heavy metals in the air, things that can be inhaled and respired that can cause uh, uh, changes in hormonal level and have inimical effects on people. Air assistance here, high jet stream of air is also pumped into it to induce turbulence and to increase the mixing ratio. And all of that is done just to increase the efficiency of the burning. Pressure assistance is also used. That's just to increase the turbulence and to allow it burn very well. But even at that, uh, most sources have it that conversion efficiency is between 62 to 98%. Now, this 98 is like the very high extreme. It's often not what is achievable. But then, even at that, if you use this, that would mean the minimum at worst case, when it's converted, you have about 62% conversion, and that leaves you with about 38%.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You did, yeah. I say the China,
Hello?
you didn't talk about.
Hello? Hello?
Sorry for the interruption, sir. You can go
Okay.
ahead. Someone was muted.
Okay. 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 So that means about 38% of the flare stream is still not converted and they are in the atmosphere there and it's carried around by the breeze and whatever. So here are some of the ways by which they are measured. The constitution or the law in Nigeria mandates operators to install flow devices. So flow meters are installed. They uh, depending on well, the regulation did not actually specify which should be used. They just mandated that operators should put flow meters or measuring devices. But here are some of the state of the art that are being considered: ultrasonic meters, optical meters, thermal flow meters. These are some of the uh, measuring devices that have been used on field, are still being used on field. In some cases, when flow meters are not available or before they are installed, process I mean, equations are used as well. And here from material balance, we know that once you multiply your oil produced with your GOR, you should be able to get the volume of the gas. And from there, you should, when you remove the gas that you are utilizing on the field, maybe to support your operation, then you should have the remaining volume of gas that cannot be handled. And from there, because some of them are actually vented too, but although it's not allowed, then you can get the fraction or the volume being flared. But the one that is used, which allows, whereas this other two, the continuous method, the continuous measurements, it is done by operator because it is the operator that will have to calibrate the meter. It is the operator that has to take the daily log, like the NUPRC mandates them to take daily reading from the flow meter every day. It is the operator that does that. The estimation method, it is also the operator that does the calculation based on their feed data. The remote sensing method is a bit more independent. And I mean, when satellites fly over, oftentimes it's done at night. It's a night pass so that, I mean, in a place like maybe Port Harcourt, I doubt if we have any company that runs 24 hours a day. So by 10 p.m., most places are quiet and dark. And when the satellite fly over, because every other place is cooler now. They measure thermal emissions and flare because they are burning methane. I mean, the temperature around some of these places are as high as up to 1,000 to 1,004 Kelvin. So there is a distinct thermal anomaly that is measured. So this thermal anomaly that is measured are taken by the shortwave band of those satellites, and then they are converted to radians, which are then used in the Planck equation. And from there, you can they are calibrated with the data, and then you can estimate the volume. So this remote sensing method seems to be the only independent method that is currently available. And for you to be able to quantify, I mean, for you to be able to address any problem, you should be able to quantify it. And quantification of gas flare or having a realistic picture of how much volume of gas is being flared is very important to being able to address the problem. And here is actually my primary research area, developing an independent method that is free of operators' interference to be able to estimate gas flare volume. Now, here is the picture on the global scale, and it says in 2024, about 151 billion cubic meters of natural gas was flared globally. And if you look at the image at the right here, now you see that at some points between 1986, it started coming down, and then when it got to 2016, you can see that gas flare volume actually started going up again. Although in some countries, it is noted that gas flare is actually reducing because of some measures that they are taking. But the gain that have been seen in some countries are actually being absorbed or being taken over by another. So when a country is going down, another is going up, eventually it balances up. And if the rate at which the one that is going down is not dipping as high as the one that is going up, then it might actually go back. And so you can see that it's actually both pointing upward now. Both the so as oil production is increasing, gas flare volume actually seems to be increasing as well. And the diagram on this other hand actually shows that the ninth largest flare emitting country in the world, they contribute about 47% of the global oil production, but they also account for 83% of the global gas flaring. And it's interesting that Nigeria seems to be one of the highest gas flaring country in the world. And if 151 billion cubic meters of gas is being flared, then you agree that it wasn't done for safety reasons, like we identified on the second slide, that gas flaring is done for safety. But of course, we know that this 151 billion cubic meters of gas was not flared for safety reasons. Neither was it flared because they were maintaining equipment. This here is production or routine flaring, and that is a major challenge that needs to be addressed. Now, the Nigerian government have actually been proactive about that, and measures are already being taken. And one of such measures is the Nigerian Gas Flare Commercialization Program, and which allows people to, I mean, off-takers to bid. They are able to, I mean, they provide, they express their interests, and based on the expressed interests, the regulators examined their capacity to be able to take up the gas and process it. And from there, permits are given to people with very good designs. And then they are given, I mean, agreements are signed and milestone development so that they don't just take permits and hold on to them. Milestones are actually given to them to be able to monitor them. And so all they need to do is I mean, get the gas that could have normally been flared by an operator. They gather the gas and they probably build facilities, modular facilities. And these are some of the structures that NUPLC has been pushing. And indeed, this has been yielding results. Tanking the gas instead of flaring it, which are virtual pipeline solutions, are virtually, I mean, seems a very pragmatic solution. Liquefying the gas, using them for fertilizers, and uh, even building modular gas to power facilities. These are options that the country has been pursuing. But because of some technicality that's been observed, even though this has been in place for a long time now, we've not actually been reaping some of the benefits that we are supposed to be reaping, or we've not been uh, getting the benefits that the policy is supposed to bring to us. And in the subsequent slide, we'll also be examining that. So from here now, I'll be moving to the challenge. And I'm starting with the environmental challenge because, I mean, that's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear about gas flaring. And so, indeed, like we all, a number of persons agreed in the survey we took earlier, some flare sites are actually located very close to community. And if you look at the picture in the middle here, you can see the stack. Just, I mean, it seems like it's just a few meters away from the buildings there or from the houses there. And that's the reality of a number of people. And if you've been reading or if you've ever followed up with gas flare literatures, there are some communities that although you've never been to, you will know their name, like is it the Ogba Egbema community now? I've never been there, but there are a number of literatures that have the Ogba Egbema community and they are repeated there. And that will tell you about the reality of people living around there. These things I've stayed very close to one before, and they can indeed be very, very noisy. They can be very noisy. And where these ones that are tall, if you stay very close, it might not be so hot, but if you stand very close to the horizontal one, it can get very, very hot and it can be very, very, and you cannot imagine having that very close to where you live. The reality is very difficult for them. And you can see this roofing, that a number of the roofing there are uh, they are corroded, and that's because of acid rain. It's when the thing is not completely combusted, and you have acidic gases in the atmosphere. It mixes with water vapor, and it falls wherever I mean, the wind carries it. And a number of literature also talked about soil temperature. So because the heat, I mean, heat is emitted from the stack, the temperature, I mean, of the soil is higher. We know that for some crop to grow, they need an optimal temperature. So the soil temperature is affected, the microorganism, uh, biodiversity is reduced, the pH of the soil is not favorable for agriculture. And a particular study actually examined the respiratory or the pulmonary health of some near site communities. And they saw that a number of them actually have or have experienced some of these respiratory disorders before. And this is the reality of some persons, and that is one of the main reasons why we actually need to find a more pragmatic solution that actually help ameliorate this, that really reduces it and bring it down significantly. So the other problem that I've also identified here is self-reporting. And now I'm going to use a simple illustration. Let's assume I left a jar on the table. I mean, it's filled with candy. And I mean, I told you, okay, so we have candies there. If you eat any candy, you come and tell me how much candy you've eaten, then I'm going to flog you based on the number of candy that you've eaten. But I am not going to, nobody is checking or counting the number of candies there. I mean, that means if you don't want to be flogged, or if you've eaten 10, you can tell me, oh, I've only eaten one. And that's about the reality with self-reporting. Although it helps the regulator focus on uh, implementation and enforcement of policy. Reports have actually shown that self-reporting in the energy industry is the leading cause of systemic underreporting. And now that's because there is no independent method of assessing gas flare volume. Now, the satellite that we talked about earlier, that is currently the only independent method, satellites have been observed that they miss small size flare. So if this flare size is too small, and you can imagine the satellite is flying at a very high altitude, it might miss it. And so they miss small size flare. Then it also depends on the satellite band of the satellite flying, and you might not be able to see it. If the cloud cover is so thick, you might not be able to see it. And some of them have even been reported to cluster multiple flare. So if there are flare sites that are close to each other, they bring about 4 flare sites and they cluster them as one. So that really limits the accuracy. Then, because we already said that flaring can be intermittent and continuous. So if for an intermittent flare, we are not flaring today and the satellite pass over, it assumes there is no flaring, and tomorrow or after the satellite flies over, we start flaring again. All of that affects the accuracy of the satellite. For the process method and the use of flow meter, they largely depend on the operator to measure them, to write them down. They depend on the operator to calibrate them. And if you are reading off a value from a meter that was calibrated 2 years ago or maybe a year ago, I mean, you're only writing down numbers. You're not writing down an accurate measurement. And these are some of the uh, realities. And these are some reports that have been published. This is a mainstream journal. The other one is a scientific journal. And I decided to couple the two so that we can know that this indeed, it's not like I'm just bad naming. It's they are established data. So the first here says natural gas is significantly underreported in Texas, and Texas is believed to be one of the petroleum industry orbit around the world. Like they have some of the most sophisticated technologies, or most of the oil companies have offices there, and I mean they have some of the most robust technologies you can think of. And still, they said in Texas, underreporting is a major challenge there. And even satellite that we say is the only independent method, you can see this report here is saying like gas flare is likely underreported by satellite. And so that brings to mind that means there is no way of auditing self-reported data, because the constitution says, oh, you must take daily measurements, log them down, and when you bring it, go and report it to government. So I am the one reporting myself, and you are punishing me based on what I am reporting. So I can decide what kind of punishment I get by just reporting what will not put me in trouble. And really, a number of literatures have actually said operators are incentivized to underreport because of their company reputation. Nobody wants to be tagged the person that is destroying the community. Nobody, I mean, if I can control the penalties I'm paying, then why not do that? And This calls for the need for an independent method of estimating gas flow. Like, is there a way that we can estimate gas flow that does not require the operator touching the process? Is there a way we can measure gas flow without the operator coming close to, doing anything about it? You just get your measurement and it's logged directly to the regulators. Another challenge here is the economic potential. Now, this is where we all look at and we say, oh, it is a wasteful process. And indeed, they said economic potential, that's how much revenue that could have been generated that was lost. And here is a quick estimate. Now, this year does not take into account the time value of money. It's just a short calculations using the values reported by the World Bank. So between 2015 to 2018, these are the volumes that were said to be fled all over the world. And these are the volume that was said of Nigeria to that we fled. And using the Henry Hub price for those period, this is the cumulative volume of gas that was fled. The money, rather, the revenue that could have been generated that was perhaps flayed off. And for Nigeria, in the 8 years, about 6.4 billion US dollars was perhaps flayed off. And this money could have indeed be used into research for human capital development. It can be used for building infrastructures for hospital. And that's really, really is not, it's a lot of revenue that we could have used for a lot of other things. Now, but here is where it actually gets interesting. So at this end here, a copy of the rules that guides operations in the oil and gas industry. The one above here is the gas flare prevention and prevention of waste and pollution regulation of 2018. The one below here is the Petroleum Industry Act of 2021. And if you read them closely, whereas both of them says, oh, the one above says operator shall maintain a daily log of flare of natural gas. So operators are the one that takes the measurements, whereas it shows that indeed measurements are taken, data are acquired. And if you look at the Petroleum Industry Act as well, it says that install monitoring equipment conform to specifications prescribed on every facility. So they are to install equipment or facilities. But then, from what we've learned earlier, when we're looking at some of these flow devices, we know that flow devices are susceptible to different things. Like some ultrasonic meters, we know they are susceptible to noise and vibration. We know that orifice meters are when the flow stream has liquid in it, they break down and they are inaccurate. So whereas the regulation says flow meter must be installed, it does not specify, oh, for a particular gas composition or for a particular purpose, perhaps this is the kind of flow meter. And that opens it up to a lot of ambiguity. So just install a flow meter, that's the point. And then there is no public record. Assessing one might be difficult. And that brings to mind again the need for an independent method to be able to estimate, to be able to measure. Now, here's the part I find interesting. It says any person who acts on behalf of a producer supplies inaccurate or incomplete flare gas data to the Department of Petroleum Resources or any other duly employed lawful authority commit an offense and is liable to a fee of 50,000 naira. Now, we already said that the method that is used in the industry is self-reporting. I take a measurement, I go to report myself. But if I see that this measurement is not favorable, I decide to alter the report or make some adjustments to it. Then the fine I pay is just 36. It's just $50,000. And when you convert that by the prevailing exchange rate, this is just $36. And $36 can hardly serve as a deterrent. In some places in Lagos, it will probably not get you a lunch or get two persons a lunch. And that's the reality. So people underreport, and this may be the reality. So these are some of the challenges that even the policies available introduces. And again, another problem that has been noted is the problem of local pricing and unattractive pricing. And I also try to bring that some data so that we can visualize them. Now, this is a publication in the Nigerian National Newspaper, that's Punch, and this from March 31 when NMDPRA uh, 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 raised the price of gas, local gas pricing, and they said that for gas to power, when the gas is to be used for powering, and the price should be for $2.18. When it's to be used for other commercial purpose, it's $2.68 per MMBTU. Now, a typical project, maybe a modular project that would get that running, would these are just values just to uh, get us thinking about the scope of the problem. The time value of money has not been considered here. So, but a typical modular scale, small scale gas to power project will probably cost between 5 to 20 million. And the same thing, maybe for a commercial, maybe if you want to send to an external, export terminal, it might cost between 9 to 30 million now. Now, it can be more than that, but those are just uh, figures to iterate with. Now, flaring, you don't have to build any, okay, perhaps you might need to build a flare stack, but that's already been incorporated in your initial design plan. Now, these are the international prices for which they are sold. Henry Hub for this, the Dutch TTF 16.65, the Asian JKM 18.77, the UK 18.7, and the country had set a local price of 2.8 and 2.7. So if I can gather this gas and sell it at this price, but I'm being compelled to gather the gas and sell at this, now I look at the money I need to expend on that, and I look at what the country will have benefited. If I'm flaring it all, the penalty I'll probably pay will be around $2 million. But that same amount of gas will have generated 106 megawatt hour of electricity, and its equivalent in MMBTU is this. Now, if we are selling the same gas, let's assume I decided to gather the gas and I'm selling at this the Dutch price. I will have gotten 17.2 million USD from it. If I had sold at this price, I would have gotten 19.4 million USD from it. If I had sold at this, I would have gotten 19. But because I'm selling at 2.18, this is all I can get from it. And when you put this into an economic model to be able to pay back on this, it doesn't look so attractive. And so a number of persons had argued that if a more attractive pricing is available and people can sell at a comparative international price, then perhaps more persons will invest, or even the oil companies themselves will be more incentivized to invest in gas gathering. I mean, if the price was just increased to just about 8, which is not, it's not even half of what is sold in Asia or what is sold in UK, it's just put to about 8. That means I'm still going to make a revenue of 8.2 million, which is a good, price for me to be able to offset whatever price I'm investing. And so for gas to, flaring to indeed be mitigated, we need to look more or critically about the local gas pricing. I know some persons will argue that if we increase the price, that means the cost, like for this gas to power now, if you increase it to it, that means what the Gencos we were buying will be at a high price, and as such, it will cascade down to the consumer. But right now, Nigerians are paying so high for the power, and the power is not available. And even in some of these other countries, power is expensive, but because it is available, people are able to make plans and they buy. And so the problem with Nigeria, if Nigerians can actually buy diesel, which is a very, very, expensive commodity to power their houses, I do not think the problem would be uh, paying for the power if it is available. The problem will actually be, would not be the price. So for us to be able to really mob up the gas, perhaps we need a competitive pricing. You don't really want to use the international price, but at least it should be fairly comparable so that investors, if the price is fairly comparable, the producers, they would go into it themselves. Another problem here now for uh, some of the plans, the modular arrangement that we had talked about before, is the uncertainty with business. Now, we know in our industry that one thing that we do is whenever we are designing for a field development plan, we always design the best case scenario, you design the base case, you design the worst case scenario. And we do all of this so that you have an understanding of what your cash flow would be. What money would you make per time based on the best case scenario? What would you make per time? And these are the plans that we take to financiers to get money. But when you cannot predict your production, if you, I mean, an off-taker that is getting 1 million standard cubic feet per day today is not guaranteed of production tomorrow or even 2 standard cubic feet tomorrow because the operator has the right of first usage. So you can imagine if I had borrowed money, I'd build a gas gathering facility just by because I'd I mean based on the Nigerian gas commercialization program, I'd borrowed money, build a facility, and I'd paid all I needed to pay to be able to start taking off gas. And the first month I got gas, and the second month the operator tells me, "Oh, we need to start re-injecting our gas, and we need to bin down a particular well because the reservoir drive is depleting." Now, there's nothing the off-taker can do about this because enshrined in the law is the first priority of the operator. So the operator has the first right to the gas that is produced. So they have the right to inject it first, even before you. So it's not attractive. I cannot go and borrow money, or people cannot go and borrow money when they know they are not guaranteed of production. So even when people want to invest in this business, when they want to invest in it and they want to really go and gather those gases, you are not certain of your production. And when production is not, I mean, of supply, and when you are not guaranteed of that, the financiers do not know how they are going to get their money back, and as such, they won't give you money. So it's difficult to get the resources needed to gather, I mean, to buy infrastructures that are needed. And that was why I wrote here, it says financial require a predictable long-term gas supply. The operator's priority right of first usage can alter gas availability throughout the project's life. And that might even put the permit holder in more troubles. Now that we have looked at all, I mean, some of the challenges, I'm sure by now most of us are
Hello.
even thinking of, hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Hello?
Yeah, please can you round up?
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me just do that now. Okay, so yeah, some of the utilization parts and they've been designed based on distance. When the gas supply is certain distance away from you, and based on the volume you have, these are some of the options you can pursue to pursue to develop the field. And the gas can be used as a gas to chemical gas. You can produce hydrogen from it. You can convert them to hydrate. And yeah, some of the solutions that I think we can eliminate self-reporting. I mean, myself and my professors have designed a method for estimating gas flare volume just from looking at the picture of the flare. So you don't need to operate, you don't need flow meters. And yeah, some other measures that can be taken. Indeed, the plan of NU PLC would work if better policies are put in place. And here's a case study, the case study of Kazakhstan, where they've managed to reduce their gas flare footprint from 3.9 to 1, and that's like a 75% reduction. And they stringently imposed their penalties. These are penalties that are gotten from operator. And carbon pricing, taxes was also implemented. And all of these are some of the things that help the country drive down their flaring rates. And I believe this model, if adopted in Nigeria as well, can really help us. So sorry for overshooting my time. I think that's all.
It's fine. Thank you so much. Please, can we give him a virtual round of applause? Like it was really great. It was mind blowing. Please, can we celebrate him? So next on the agenda would be questions and answers. Please, if you've got any questions, kindly raise up your hand or you text it on the chat box.
Yes, I can see a hand. I can see a hand already. Low way. Please go ahead.
Okay. Please, Olowe, unmute yourself and ask your question, please. Olowe Osaize Lazarus, please, you can speak.
Yes, can you hear me, please?
Yes, clearly.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's a very important lecture and it has gone a long way. Please, I have this question to ask. For a marginal feed and matured asset in the Niger Delta region, what is the most cost-effective gas flaring recovery technology when gas pipelines, access is limited, and what are the typical recovery factors we can implement in militating solving this problem?
Okay. If there was a slide that I think perhaps I glossed over that actually showed the plots of distance to it shows the plot of distance and the volume of gas that was available. So that plot is generally used to guide the kind of uh, strategy that should be pursued. So depending on your distance, when your distance from your field, when the distance from your field is less than 1,000 or is more than 1,000, if it's less than 1,000 and you have something less than 4 billion cubic meters, or you are told that you should be able to get between 0 to 4 billion cubic meters. I mean, some literature have said it is best that you pursue gas to power, you pursue compression of the gas, those are strategies that you can use. If the distance is longer, then some persons think you should use gas to chemicals. If you are looking at something up to 5,000 kilometers to facilities, then you want to actually use that. And it also depends on the location. For the transportation, I think from the Nigerian gas commercialization strategy, one approach that has been identified is the use of virtual pipelines, which are the use of tankers. And I think LLNG, Greenville LLNG does that well. Oftentimes when you travel, you see Greenville LLNG's tankers traveling around. And I think that's an option that can be pursued too. And those are strategies that can be used. But I think a more rigorous analysis might need to be conducted before you actually select the optimal parts. I don't know if I answered the question or if there's anybody on the call that wants to offer suggestions as well.
You have answered. Thank you very much. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
But I still have one more question. Perhaps if there are other people on the queue, I can hold on.
Okay, that's the moderator can tell us if the other persons.
Moderator, please, are you still online?
I think you can go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, actually, I am one among those working on artificial lift optimization in Niger Delta.
Okay.
And I see flaring tied to gas lift inefficiency and poor gas handling, most especially at the wellhead.
Okay.
The question I want to ask is, are there integrated well performance model that ties artificial lift optimization directly into flaring reduction planning? That's the question I want to ask so that I can have more knowledge on this area.
Okay. So in some countries, actually, reinjection is actually like mandated. They are like, I mean, compelled to like re-inject. Now, in some places, reinjection might not be visible because of the geology, but oftentimes it is always a best practice because you know it builds the reservoir pressure back. And even I think I was listening to a presentation made by Chevron during one of the XP NICE program, and they said one of their giant fields, like immediately they started production from the field, they didn't allow pressure to even deplete. Immediately they started production, they started gas reinjection and what's it called now? Uh, uh, water injection, yeah. And all of that was done to build up the pressure. And for gas lifting as well, I think that can as well be done just to mop up the gas and just prevents it from being flared. Regardless, those gas can be recovered and they can still be reutilized. So any strategy that will prevent you from flaring and I mean get the gas to eventually be commercialized, I think it's a good strategy to pursue. Don't know if I answered that.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Engineer Shegun. Any other questions, please? Okay, I have some questions myself. I've got like 2 questions.
Okay.
The first one has to do with what you talked about concerning the flare measurement procedures. You mentioned something about continuous measurements and the estimation methods and how they are usually subject to operators, right? And like it's become an issue in the industry. So I'm just thinking, how can AI automation be incorporated into these methods? Then the second question is about the carbon penalty, right? The flaring penalty, rather. He said 50,000 naira for a wrong record penalties was charged. So I'm just thinking the amount, is it for the whole discrepancy or is it a unit thing? Maybe like regardless of the amount of discrepancy, maybe like the difference, you still get to pay 50,000 or there is a measurement like a range or something. I don't know.
Okay, so for I think you took different things together. I was just start with the last. So carbon taxing is a different thing. I think it's even used as an incentive because all these building of modular facilities are considered as ways of mopping up gas that would normally have been flared. So in some countries, because companies are committed to making sure that they reduce their carbon footprint. So some companies that have very high carbon footprints or they're about, I mean, they are going above their limits can actually buy uh, those of, I mean, the credits from that of the companies that are putting in place recovery measures to be able to uh, get within their limits. So that's a different term. This other one, the penalty you were talking about, I mean, wrote out the law, and the law says anybody that is liable to a fine, I mean, is liable upon conviction, is to pay a fine of 50. So it does not state how much. Maybe the 50,000 is per barrel. So if you are going to take it by the face value, then you would say that it's probably how much. That's all the person is going to pay. So I do not think there is a yardstick, another yardstick for measuring it, aside the fact that the person is going to pay the 50,000 naira. So I want to think that is all the person is going to pay. So for the AI method, that's my area of research actually, and uh, we've tried to develop a system that actually takes images, I mean gas flare images, and that is all you need. So from the gas flare image, you can actually estimate gas flare volume. So I will not want to dive deeper into that. That's a full day discussion again. But the system just needs a camera to be installed nearby. So once the camera takes a picture of the flare, I mean, it does an internal calculation on the picture. And from the internal calculation, you can actually estimate the volume of gas that is being flared. You can estimate the flow rate, and from the flow rate, you can actually determine the volume of gas that is being flared. And I think these are some of the strategies that the government can pursue to at least get an alternative method of validating what the operators are reporting. So even if the operators need to self-report or will continue to report, then there should be a way to validate what they are reporting. And I think these are other options that can be pursued. So I don't know if I answered the question.
Yes, you did so well. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Yeah.
Please, would that be for all the questions? Does anybody have any other question? Okay, so in the absence of any other question, would like to move to the next agenda. All right, so our presentation of certificates will be done by Oyiniro Adekola, SP Wari YP.
All right, thank you very much. That was a very nice presentation from the person taking the the program. Sorry, please, I'm not. All right. So as I was saying, thank you very much, Mr. Oluwasegun Bolanle. Thank you very much. And so on behalf of FC Warri and everybody on this call, I would like to say thank you and we present you this certificate. Thank you very much. I have learned a lot and I believe everyone here has also learned a lot too. And we all hope that when next we invite you, you are able to come and give us more on your knowledge. Thank you very much. God bless you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity too.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, so we'll take our photographs now. Can everybody unmute their videos, please? Brother, can we turn on our videos?
All right, so we'll be taking our photographs now. So at the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. SPE Solutions People Energy. SPE.
Okay.
Solutions People Energy.
All right. Very good. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone. So the next on our agenda would be SP awareness and announcements. This will be taken by Janet Adesojo. Janet, please.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, moderator, for this opportunity. And if you have joined our programs, and if you are new to SP and you want to join us, become a member, this is an opportunity to do that. And you registering to be an SP member comes a lot of benefits. You can get to be able to get first-hand internship and career information. You're able to get mentoring programs from industry leaders. You have access to scholarships and trainings, and also access to a technical and professional resource library, knowledge base, and also to network with industry leaders and professionals, both locally and international. And this is not just the benefits; there are lots more. If you are not yet a member and you want to be a member, or if you're already a member and you want to renew your membership, you can scan the QR code on the form, or I'm going through the link that I'm going to post now in the chat box. And for other incoming events that we have this month, if you follow us on our LinkedIn page, you're able to get more information on upcoming events. I just posted the link, so if anyone here is interested and you love to join the SP Worry session, you can do that. I just posted the form. You just have to register the form. Thank you very much. And if there are any other questions on how to go about the process, you can reach out to any of the members on the call or through the chat session. Thank you very much. I will now hand over to the moderator.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you so much for that very apt announcement. So next up would be closing remarks by Ogene Mudokewe Obanowe. Please come on board.
Okay, I'm not sure Kewe is still on call. I know she was earlier. Probably she has some network issues or... Okay, she's still on call. Kewe, can you hear us? Please confirm you can hear me, everyone.
Yeah, we can hear you, Paul.
Okay, Kewe, we are speaking. You are muted. Okay, probably she has some network challenges, so I think I would gladly do that in her stead, right? So this is to say a very big thank you to our guest speaker. Like, I'm so elated and excited for the opportunity to have you speak to us, because you know most times we in our technical programs we do hear a lot on the technicalities, right? But when it comes to bridging the technical, the commercialization aspects of the industry, it tends to be a little bit scarce, right? So I'm so glad that we're able to have this and gain this so much value. And and I would also like to humbly request, I think someone has said so, please we'll also be reaching out to you subsequently because I believe there's still more in the tank, right? And you know, we tend to come up with a lot of programs. I know the body is about to come to an end in the next board year. I believe there will be other opportunities to have such amazing speakers like you come on board as well. So please look out for our next invitation, sir. Thank you so much. Then hope I'm getting, is that a yes from you, sir?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I
Thank
can
you.
hear you. Thank you so
Okay.
much for the opportunity again.
All right. Thank you so much. So, reaching out to you, I'm going to get your contact from Ichioma and all. Then to our amiable audience, to everyone who joined, both member or non-member of SP. If you're not a member of SP, please, after this call, make sure you are becoming a member. And to the members of the team that make this happen, thank you so much, everyone, for making our time to be a part of this, not just to add to the number, but to also gain value. Because the more as we keep growing together, we keep making the world a better place, right? So thank you so much, everyone, and I wish every one of us a wonderful night rest and happy Democracy Day to each and every one of us. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you for
Good
coming.
night. Good night, everyone. Thank you.